Hi guys, welcome to a new book club episode. I am super excited to get into these books. It has been a long time since I've talked about books on camera. I mean, just a month ago for you, but since I recorded that. In case you're wondering, what are we doing in this setup? I am moving. I finally found a room in Rotterdam and yeah, that is all happening this week and it's just madness. So I had to find a spot and I just woke up. As you can tell, I have no makeup on literally, but I just wanted to correct this in because my mom's also not home right now. So I have all the peace in the world to record this video. So let's get into books. You've probably already seen this beautiful pile of books and also this beautiful monstera. I mean, hello. Yeah, it's gonna be a pain in the ass to bring all these plants with me. In case you're wondering what I am reading right now and what you can expect in the coming video, add me on Goodreads. I love to see whatever you are reading because I am that kind of book stalker. And it's also nice to just get inspiration from other Goodreads friends, so make sure to add me on Goodreads. Obviously also subscribe and like this video because subscribing really does help grow my channel, so please do subscribe if you like these kinds of videos. Obviously this book club is a series in my YouTube channel and I do this every single month. So subscribe and like this video. Okay, now we are really going to talk about books, and the first book that I want to talk about is at the bottom of the pile. And it's Everything I Know About Love by Dolly Alderton. If you follow me on Instagram, you've already seen that I have been loving this book lately. Normally with book club, I kind of choose books that I've read like 2 months ago, but I love this book so much and I got so many cool reactions on Instagram, I think mainly, on this book that I just thought like I had to put it in this book club. So Dolly Alderton is a journalist. You might know her from the High Low podcast that she does with Pandora Sykes. I am sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong. And this book, like, it's super funny. It made me cry and I'll try to not spoil anything for you. But so basically this is a memoir. So Dolly is in her 30s now, I think early 30s. And this starts from basically the moment that she was born and she started making friends and was obsessed with Amazon boyfriends up until she moved to Camden to live with some friends and all the adventures that took place there. And then from being the party girl to going to see a therapist on a regular basis, and her friends obviously getting older, growing up, having babies, definitely getting engaged. And she's just like, but what about like me? What about our friendship? It is so honest and like I love it. I am currently not in the phase of my life where my friends are getting engaged and getting married and having babies, even though some acquaintances did get married the past year, which was kind of crazy, but still it was super relatable. And again, the way that she writes is so honest and so funny, and in the end she finds out what everything is about and what love means to her in her life. And that was such a beautiful moment that I definitely cried. I was reading this in the train. I'm sorry if anyone saw me cry in the train. If there's any book that you might want to read this one. It's full of assumptions, like being a 15-year-old thinking that a 20-year-old owns the world, and then being a 20-year-old and be like, how to adult. Honestly, just read this. Also, I am a huge fan of the High Low podcast. With the podcast, they discuss weekly news flashes, things that they have loved the past week, books they're reading, podcasts they listen to, all in a very intelligent and funny way. So Everything I Know About Love by Dolly Alderton. Then the second book is a completely different genre. This is Highland Raven by Melanie Karsak. I'm just gonna point it out, I hate how this book looks like. It just looks very cheap, and if someone just wrote it and then yeah, I don't know. However, this is a very short book, and I think, wait, let me quickly. Also the font is quite big, so that doesn't really help. But it has 250 pages, and I just like the kind of genre that this book was set in. So basically I think it follows, Scotland, year 1026, and it follows this lady who doesn't have any parents anymore, but she does have a loving aunt, and she is being sent to this kind of Celtic cult to train herself, and then she's among Celtic gods. And if you're into that kind of vibe, it's definitely fantasy, but if you're into that kind of vibe, then I love it. It's kind of, for example, if you love Outlander, if you like the books by, I think her name is Juliette Marier, but probably not French. But they're all in that like Irish, Scottish. I don't know what exactly the difference is between those gods. There probably is lots of difference, I'm sorry. But if you're into that kind of books, then this is definitely a very interesting one for you. It's obviously not really deep. It's way too short to be a very intense book, but it was really nice to just read and enjoy. So I would definitely recommend this to you if you have some spare time, if you want to get away from your thoughts. This book is definitely a good option for that. And if you are into the Irish, Scottish genres, gods, you know what I mean. So yeah, that is regarding Highland Raven by Melanie Carsack. It also says a Scottish historical fantasy. The next book is a very different book, and that is How to Own the World by Andrew Craig. This book has taught me so much about investing. I was a business student. I have read a lot of books about investing in my free time as well, but this was the first book that kind of explained everything to me in such a logical manner. And like most books only talk about one part of investing, and this book, this author doesn't only, obviously he does has his preference in like what you should probably invest in according to him, but he explains every single method to invest. He talks about pensions. It's just really helpful. This is set as he was a financial something in the city of London. This book is really set in the English world and has quite some references to London, but I don't think that that should stop you. Obviously, like every country has its own rules and pension things and whatever strategies, so you just kind of have to look through that. And also, like, in case you're interested in something that is very English, then Google what it might be for your country. But the broad lines of investing and even going a bit further into the topic were super clearly explained in this book, and I do really recommend this to a lot of friends who are interested in investing. Like, I don't know that many things about investing, obviously, because I'm just 21. So to also read out loud part of the back of the book that I think is very interesting. How to Own the World is your crash course in financial literacy, giving you the power to transform your finances and change your life. This is also a 3rd edition, so it's quite up to date. Maybe there is already a 4th edition by the time you are watching my video. What I also really liked about this book is that it exactly shows you how fast, I just woke up, my accents are all over the place. How fast money can grow in tables and graphs, and for me as a very visual person, that helps me understand it even more. And he does this for every single type of investment. So again, if you're interested in investing and you might even be a beginner, but I wasn't a beginner, I'm probably like a little bit further than a beginner, I highly recommend reading this book. There are even jokes in this book. This is a book about finance, but there are jokes in this book. Like, wherever there are jokes, like, I love it. So that is regarding book number 3. Then the 4th book, I know that this pile is not in the order that I want to talk about books. This 4th book is called Romanov by Nadina Brandes. Shout out to this being a hardcover. Let me know, hardcover versus paperback, in the comments. This is still a battle that we're fighting and we haven't decided upon yet, whether hardcover or paperback is better. Anyways, back to this book. Romanov might already ring a bell because obviously there's a huge dynasty or family tree with the name Romanov in Russia. Well, not anymore because, well, they've been slaughtered, which is also what this book is about. I'm sorry if I spoil things for you. You probably know the Romanovs and the entire story about Anastasia. You might have even seen the musical Anastasia or the movie, which the movie is so beautiful. It's amazing. I need to start this over. So every time that they moved houses, they were carrying this Matrushka doll. As you know, like every doll has like a layer of new dolls inside. But this particular doll has spells inside each of the dolls. Those spells were made by a very famous like wizard spellmaster. And the Socialist Party that hate the Romanov family in this story, they are trying to find spellmasters and, well, kill them. And in this story, Anastasia is the one who takes care of Alexei and also his, well, soothing spells for whenever he feels very, very ill. And from the last moment that they moved to their last house and go into the cellar, were being shot, Anastasia has spoken this last spell that was in the Matryoshka doll. Or well, not the last spell in the doll, but like this last spell that she could like find, and it enables her to be in the spirit world and not dead, and then whenever she repeats the word again, she's like back in her body. That enables her to survive and also to save Alexei. One of the guards will help them. In the end, they want to find the spellmaster that made the like big ass Matryoshka doll so he can help Alexei. Yeah, this story follows Alexei, Anastasia, and the guard in their journey escaping the socialist Bolsheviks? I'm not entirely sure anymore. And I'm not going to tell you anything more because I don't want to spoil anything. But yeah, another Eastern European fairy tale fantasy book. Obviously, this is based on some historical facts. Yeah, I don't think that the actual Romanov family like wandered around the spirit world. But in case you are really interested in these Russian kinds of stories, that I can highly recommend you this one. It was really nice. I loved the way that it was written. I think I gave it 3 or 4 stars on Goodreads. I think 4. 3 is like quite low. 4. So let's move on to the final book, which is not a novel, but it is a book full of poems, because I thought, why not share this one as well? So this is Inward by Young Pueblo. You might have seen some of his poetry on Instagram. Can we just take a moment for this beautiful artwork? It kind of reminds me of one of my tattoos. I like this already resonates some kind of calm, if you know what I mean. So this is full of poems, and it is divided into a couple of categories, which are distance, union, interlude, self-love, and understanding. So there are all kinds of poems in those kinds of categories. It really depends if you're new to these kinds of poetry books or if you already have thousands, but it like kind of has to call you when you need to read it. I will only read poetry maybe twice a month, but like sometimes I'm in my bed reading a book or deciding which book I want to read, and I'm just like, no, I would like to read some poetry. There is just this special moment that poetry calls you. I don't know how to explain it, but I especially love the self-love chapter because I think that is very important, and he obviously has a beautiful way with words. He's a poet. So in case you haven't heard of Young Pueblo yet, or you might have seen him on Instagram but you are curious, then this is the sign that you should probably buy this book. I think I can read this part. I think that's not plagiarism or whatever. Copyright. True power is living the realization that you are your own healer, hero, and leader. I suck at reading poetry aloud, but I hope that you like that. And that is also the end of this book club. These were the books that we discussed today. If there is one book that I think you should read, it's obviously Everything I Know About Love. But yeah, there are plenty of different genres in my book clubs always. So again, make sure to subscribe and like this video. Follow me on Instagram if you want to see what I'm also like, in case you don't have Goodreads but you do want to know what I'm reading. I sometimes share it on Instagram. There were quite some nice discussions that I had about this book actually, which was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed that. So thank you. So thanks again, and see you next Wednesday for a different kind of video because I only talk about books once a month.